Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ show. I'm one of the co-hosts. I'm Jay. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
How you guys doing? My friends and family, we are back. Nick and CJ show. Always good to be back on Monday evenings. This kind of time slot you guys gonna see me on a lot. Hopefully you guys been liking the new program and CJ been killing it. With shows like in the afternoon, at least for me at least. I watched a show you did on socialism. Pretty powerful. I like
Yeah.
that. I like the format. So Nick and CJ today. I'll be live with Josiah tomorrow at the same time as well. So
What are you
it's
guys
gonna be a
talking
good
about
time.
tomorrow? What are you guys talking about tomorrow night?
We got a few things planned. We probably gonna
Is it
I'm
the
not
international?
gonna
I shouldn't have said the topic. What I'm asking is it an international left show? Or is it her show that's
yeah. So outside
or a
review,
joint show that's
me and Josiah, you guys know what I mostly focus on is state violence, foreign policy, the class war. That's like my three specialties. And Josana, she tend to focus on state violence. It's gonna be an international approach. We're also gonna have a series of rotating guests as well. So I think we're gonna talk about Brazil. I got a few other stories regarding policing, international war crimes, to talk about. And then on Wednesday night, we was gonna do this on Saturday, but we had to reschedule. I'm gonna try and get Zoya on because there have been all these false flags and accusations of
yeah.
war crimes, and I have been following it. I really want to get a chance to break it, get all the information down, break it down so we can debunk the propaganda. And Zoya has been on top of it. Zoya been hitting me up like, "Dick, I got the receipts. This is bullshit. I got the receipts. I'm ready." And so I think we'll do that Wednesday night as far as my plan this week goes. So hopefully you guys liking the content, like, subscribe, all
Yeah.
that stuff. We upload all
So
every day. So
so this is what Nick was talking about. Starting a series called I Am, or a podcast called I Am the Revolution. And today we
no, I
had
like the idea, man. I really do. I like it.
yeah, and then today we had so Sunday or Saturday I did an episode called What is Imperialism. Today's episode was What is Socialism. I'll figure out what's going to be tomorrow, but topics like what is capitalism, what is feudalism, what is communism. We'll go, biography of Karl Marx, Lenin. Of course, we're gonna do Black radical tradition, just that topic, and then we'll do like Fred Hampton, Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, like biographies of all of them. So it's probably gonna take about a good 3 weeks, but it's
That's
to
good.
the attempt to educate people and what the left has preaches about, but we want to educate people. So that's the idea. And then before we get to the topic, though, everybody like this video. And the last thing before we get to the topic is this here. I'll share my screen, and that is we finally got our Substack up and going. So we want everybody to join our mailing list. It's already started in the stream earlier today. We already added over 50 people. So there's enough people here where we can add another 50, 75 people to our mailing list, and let's start building this community. But I'll put it in the chat. You see it here, revolutionary blackout period or dot substack .com. That's where you go, and you can add your email, and then you'll be a part of our mailing list. You'll know when we drop videos like this video right here. If you were unaware, you may not get the notification through YouTube, so we would send you an email. Hey, we're this is the content for tonight. So just wanted to shout that out. Make sure you go and join our mailing list. So that's it. So I'm gonna pass it to you, Nick, for the first topic,
Yeah,
and
this
I'll
is
take this off right here.
yeah. You guys see with a network like this, we go through a lot of changes, especially coming into year number 2. We 1 year in, and we already hitting gains. And I floated the number out because I'm one of the people that like to look forward. Um, like, because now we got the 15K. Well, let's get 30. Let's hit 30K, because I already see the effects that we are having on discourse, even with the small channel that we have now, just spreading the message to activists who spread the message to other activists. And now I see people covering state violence, foreign policy issues I haven't seen a lot of people touch on, and that's I'm blessed, and that's why I like having a platform, our ability to help drive the narrative, and not only just a more pro-black, but pro-worker, more pro-humanitarian point of view. And one topic that we've been hitting on consistently, we always cover, because I think is one of the biggest problems that we have to deal with as workers, is the rising and the escalation of the police state. And it's not done by accident. And I'm gonna break down. I got a lot of data. I may take me another live stream to do because I'm putting this together. Like actually, they've been getting worse. They've been escalated. They've been scaling back on our
Terrible.
rights. And if you guys don't think that's connected to the class war that they are waging, you out your damn mind. You guys see the title of this video. Tough on crime policing has been a failure. This is the biggest weakness of the capitalist class, is the issue of national security, the military, and policing. The biggest blind spot that they have. I have no idea why so many Marxists, why so many leftists let these capitalist frauds off the hook. The same people who claim freedom imprison 1/4 of the world's prison population. The people who call themselves fiscal conservatives spend buttloads of money on a national security state, while at the same time they say stuff like "Don't tread on me." This is their biggest weakness. Do you understand why, as a socialist, as a Marxist, why this is one of my number one aims, is exposing the police state and exposing their propaganda, because this is another thing that exposes the two-party duopoly, because this is bipartisan. The message that come in 2022, they are competing to see who is more pro-police. Democrats, no, we funding the police more. No, Republicans saying, no, we funding the police more.
That's exactly
you
right.
see how this completely destroyed the illusion of the two-party duopoly? They completely destroyed the ideology of capitalists. Feel free to interrupt me anytime you want. I'm just setting up the story, CJ.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going.
But this is why we cover this, because this is why I nailed conservatives to the wall. I nail anyone on all the people that dominate in the American political Overton window, liberals, conservatives, they all are blazing hypocrites when it comes to the issue of policing. Right now, as a channel that's been covering police propaganda, they've been doing it. The propaganda that we've seen has escalated so much, where they say stuff that doesn't even make sense. Like they say stuff like, "Oh, the crime rates are going up because the defund the police movement." These quote unquote crime rates went up as you guys funded the police more. It's the dumbest thing that people repeat as fact. People say on both political aisles. When people talk about defund the police, Democrats say, "Oh, this is toxic for us because ever since we ran on defund the police, crime has gone up." I've been watching it what the opposition been saying, and as I watch the opposition, this is why I tell you guys you should do it. Because when I watch the opposition, when I see their arguments, I'm like, oh my God, they are extremely weak on this topic. Extremely weak.
Nick, there's an inherent problem to me with police being responsible for taking care of crime and also reporting it. So, like their job performance, you get what I'm saying? Like they're telling you their job performance. So basically, I'm essentially saying, in other words, I'm saying this. They have the ability to affect the crime rate by simply reporting something or not reporting something. So if they say, hey, we got all this funding, we need to act like the crime rate go down. Just don't file those. Don't file a couple of those every week. The crime rate goes down. Or if they say, hey, all the things, be a stickler. Be a what is it called? The broken window theory, where you're getting everything. Then that looks like the crime rate goes up. There's so many tricks they can do to manipulate, and that's what they're doing to manipulate this narrative, in my opinion.
It's also important to remember, never take what they say at face value. Like if you look at the overall trends over the decades, violent crime has gone down. So whenever they do this thing where they fear-monger, where they say, oh, the crime is going up, relative to what? And oftentimes, they get caught blatantly lying. Where the police, where they're looking for more funding, they will say, oh my God, crime is out of control. Then if you look at the stats, which the media, they never call them out, you will look like, no, it's not. Like the crime rate is the same. Like the crime rate will be the same. But they will come out every time they need to approve a new budget. They say crime is out of control. We need more money. They do this every fucking year. As someone who follows this, people who follow this, they report on this every year. You get hit with there's a crime wave story every fucking year. Now this year happened again. Now people pretend it's unique. They forgot that they did this 2 years ago too. Every time they need to justify budgets, this shit goes around, right? And then they pretend, the police pretend, oh my god, man, we've been hammered by liberal policies. You know the liberal policies like broken windows policing. You know the liberal policies like civil asset forfeiture. This is what they always do. As someone who follows these trends, they pretend that somehow there's been this liberal push. The Democrats, they went so far left, even though they literally take more money from the police. This is where the cops literally keep getting off from killing black people. Like Derek Chauvin kept getting off over and over. Breonna Taylor's killers got off. Amira Locke's killers got off. Like over and over again, Democrats constantly are pro-police. They constantly fund police more. They constantly scaling back our rights, scaling back our Second Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights that do not exist anymore. Who else is going to tell you that other than RBN? Our Second Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights do not exist. Amira Locke killers were just found innocent. They're not going to press charges on Amira Locke's killer because they broke into his home illegally, but he had a gun in his hand. But since he had a gun in his hand in his own home, they gave the police legal right to shoot him. So tell me more about the Second Amendment that you guys think you have. It doesn't exist. If a cop decides to take your Second Amendment right, they'll just say you have a gun that gives them probable cause to shoot you. You guys see how this is a giant blind spot that conservatives don't even think about? I bring this up to conservatives all the time. They're like, whoa, shit. He's right. Why do you think I got a lot of conservatives that follow me on Twitter? Conservatives say they love the police, but they follow me because I point this shit out. They're like, damn, do we really got Second Amendment right? That when the propaganda start fading away.
Mm-hmm.
That when damn, they really can't shoot someone with a gun, right? But go ahead, CJ.
And now no, because if you go to some rural white areas, they might know something like that, but the vast majority, like they don't get that part. But I think that's a great example. But go ahead.
So let's get a story and why I decided to bring this up. So according to propaganda, we have these crime surges because of the defund the police movement. And then every time these quote unquote crime surges happen, they say, oh, we got to course correct. We got to fund the police more. We got to crack down on the working class more and impose more regressive fines and fees. This is what Eric Adams ran on. When Eric Adams won, there were stories that was released. A lot of brain dead idiots repeated as fact. A lot of people who like to call themselves independent. They were saying, well, Eric Adams won. Isn't that a sign that people don't support defunding the police? Ignoring the fact that big money decides our elections about 90% of the time. Mm-hmm. Ignoring the fact that most people that are disaffected by the police state are the people who are most likely not to vote. 50% of the country don't vote. 50% of black people don't vote. So if you're against the police state, you're less likely to vote. So the people who support Eric Adams was the black boomer shit libs that we rip on this show all the time because they continue to sell us out to the police state. And that's why I was telling people at the time, I had so many black liberals mad at me because I was calling out these sellouts. Anyone who was supporting Eric Adams, I'm telling you, selling us out to white supremacy. So Eric Adams ran on debunking and doing the exact opposite of what the defund the police movement had asked. So what has been the result of this expansion of the police state by Eric Adams? Let's look this out. This is an article from Political, all places. Adams banked his mayor royalty on police safety. Crime skyrocketed during his first 100 days in office. So we told you on this show, I could do it either or. Remember, CJ, we talked about that?
Yes.
I can debut
whatever argument you want.
Yeah. So if you don't accept my argument alone, when we talk about crime rates and how they calculate all that shit, that we can debunk your entire system. But let's say you're resistant to our arguments. Okay, let's go by your system, sir. According to your logic, you have failed, Eric Adams. According to your logic, all the Democratic mayors, a lot of people don't report on this, while the Republican Party is pretending the Democratic Party is the party of defund the police. Meanwhile, all the Democratic mayors have pledged ever since the beginning of last year to expand their police budgets. But now everyone in the media is reporting on the crime wave, and all these dumbass capitalists can't put two and two together. As if the spending all the money on the expensive police state doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we are not dropping crime. Because that is not the role of the police. That is not the role of the police. CJ, you have anything to add? I got something else I want to pull up too.
Yeah, it's not the role of the police because, but that's why I think the vast majority of the people that is against defund the police, or the vast majority of the dominant culture, the vast majority of white culture, I think they know that, because they know that it's not like it's increasing police in their neighborhoods. It's this fear factor. That's why it has to be a constant criminalization
That's a great
of
point.
black men. It has to be, because you have to keep re-indoctrinating new white people. You have to even people have short memories. So you have to constantly keep doing this so that people are okay to say, okay, yeah, I watched on TV that all the bad people are over there. So yeah, we need money over there to make sure they don't get out, because they're animals, they can get out. That's essentially, in my opinion, what happened. So back to you, Nick, though.
No, I'm glad you brought up a great point when you're talking about over policing, because they don't over police their community, and we
Right.
got I got a story I want to get into later today that shows that how they're a two-tiered justice system. But I'm not gonna spoil it. We'll get to that here later. But now let's get back to the topic at hand, because it's not new. This whole tough on crime approach, the way capitalists are able to manipulate the public in order to justify their budgets is legendary. They do this every fucking time. If you in the 90s, oh my God, the drug era, we got to stop the gangs. They got the crime bill passed because of that. And then the 2000s, oh my God, terrorism, 9/11, terrorism, Mexicans are crossing the border. They spend the military and the police budgets doing that again.
Yeah.
Now, what we doing now? The defund the police movement has turned everyone to criminals somehow. And now we got to spend the police budgets. Even though, as we showed before, police are less than 2% of all violent crime. Their job is to arrive after the scene. They know they don't do anything, so their job is to do propaganda in order to justify their paycheck.
Right.
That is their job.
Right.
And the fact that people do not understand this shows how unserious capitalists are.
It's the same thing militarily. They have the same plan, Nick, whether it's domestic police state or it's the international police state, what we call the military and industrial complex. They have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to have crime in order to justify all of this money we're spending on law and order. So yeah.
Why do you think as soon as the U.S. started publicly withdrawing from the war on terror, they didn't actually do it, but like pulling from Afghanistan, scaling down troop numbers, right? When they started doing that, then what happened? All of a sudden, big bad China, then big bad Russia. You see how they invent shit? So I'm gonna show you guys this article, right? Because when you actually discuss this issue, especially with abolitionists, there are a reason why they don't allow us in this conversation. Whenever they talk about this on corporate media, they have some black liberal that agrees with them. Yeah, actually, defund police movement. Yeah, they're too radical. Yeah, I think we should do reforms. Like, it's deeply unserious.
Morgan
shit.
Freeman or something like that.
Like, you're never gonna see Angela Davis breaking this shit down, right? On CNN, they will never allow that to happen. I know a lot of great abolitionist thinkers that will never allow it in corporate media, because when you actually talk about this issue with abolitionists, someone like me who did an op-ed, who I went over the history of policing. Most people who are police bootlickers, they have no idea the history of policing, how it started. They don't know that our society, ever since the Industrial Revolution, this policing that we have is brand new. No other society in human history have policing that operate the way we do. This shit is brand new. Anyway, I don't want to get in the weeds here. Let's move. Let me get to the story here. So we look at the stats, and I'm like, oh, you need to prove this shit to me. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the Show Me state. Show me your work. This is how I became an abolitionist. Okay, if you believe giving police a lot of money reduce crime, show me your work. And throughout my life, ever since the crime bill, I was born in 91. I'm a child of this police state. Why do you think all black leftists care about this issue? White leftists tend to drift. They don't give a fuck about this shit that much. But black leftists, especially our age, they talk about this shit all the time. We abolitionists, we are the one in the streets because has been our reality our entire life. Remember, fuck the police. I grew up on that damn song. I was a kid. I was a toddler, right? Tupac, all these
Right.
people,
That
our
was a
community.
jam.
Sorry, you can interrupt anytime, TJ. But our community
And people
grew up
don't
on this.
remember. People, this is an even older one. It was Ice-T did one called Cop Killer, where
Yeah,
he
it's
got
always
that
been a
shit got
thing.
banned. Yeah, that shit got banned. Go ahead.
So the internet exposed the brutality of the police. A lot of white people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But the black community been telling y'all these stories and poems and songs and literature. But now we got cameras, and now people are like, oh damn, they're actually telling the truth. They was right this whole damn time.
Right.
So we are the serious ones. We got the evidence, we got the stats. I've been asking people to prove me otherwise. So let's go over this story. Well, now this story and this op-ed that pretty much sums up the work of William R. Kelly, this criminologist, right? Who I don't even know his politics. I don't have to because he nails our police state. I don't know anything about this dude, but he wrote a book about how our criminal justice system has literally failed. And when I read his critiques, it doesn't sound like a leftist. It literally just sounds like someone like just saying, "Yo, this is the approach you guys did. The crime rate has continued to. It didn't have any impact on the crime rate, while the recidivism, the chance of people going back to prison, has increased. We're spending more. Anyway, let me dive into it. You guys see his article, right? So this is what this Kelly guy says. And this going into the fact that how our tough on crime has failed. Eric Adams has failed as political highlights. They don't dive into as much as I want them to. They just go over in this article. They go over the raw facts. Like, yo, damn, he actually not really doing that well in terms of stopping crimes. On this article and what we do, we explain why that is. This is not new knowledge, guys. This is written June 2015, before what I call the new escalation. And I'm gonna explain why I call it a new escalation here soon. Right? So he says our criminal justice policies have failed to effectively reduce crime and recidivism. They have needlessly placed hundreds of thousands of individuals at the risk of criminal victimization each year. So when I read his entire critique, I don't know his politics. It sounds like a guy who was just objectively telling you what's happening. So I'm gonna read the next few paragraphs here. And they have facilitated a large segment of the population cycling in and out of the justice system, and that become permanently dependent on public service instead of becoming productive citizens. So when I read that part, that sounds like more like, and I can explain why in a longer rant, but that sounds more like right-wing thinking, right? Where he's like, oh, you got to be like a productive member of society. Oh, he's draining public services. So as a leftist, I'm like, that's not a bad thing. But that's why I feel like,
wait. So he's saying the cycling through the legal system prevents those people from being productive citizens. That's basically what he's trying to say.
You got it. Yeah, you got it, CJ. Because so his argument is essentially, and this is actually a powerful argument that you can use against conservatives. Because his argument is, and he continues to make it in his work, if you actually believe in less spending, and I'm gonna get to it here very soon as we scroll down. He said, what we're doing is more expensive on tough on crime with less results. That is his argument. And then if your argument is as a capitalist, you want to increase the value of each citizen, he's saying having people that go in and out of prison, then they got to go back into social programs to get them back in society. Then they go back into prison. They got to go through the whole cycle again. He's saying this is ridiculously expensive, and you don't get people to become effective worker robots. You see that, CJ?
Right.
So that's why I told you guys his politics, I can tell, differs from ours, but he nails our system. You see how we can still do that? And you can use that language to win conservatives over.
But I think that's the reason why, Nick, a lot of conservatives follow you and a lot of conservatives follow just the network, is because there is, and that's to me, because we are humanistic, we're humanists, we're about humanity. Like as leftists, you're gonna have overlapping policies with everybody because you're about people. So if you're a conservative and you're about even trying to make sure it's the most productive, your angle is a different angle, but it's the same result. Like it's the same result where you're saying we should defund it. It should be some kind of different way because this is completely outrageous.
Yeah, I read the work of
Go ahead.
abolitionists. I read Angela Davis. I read many Black Panthers writing on abolitionist thought. So I can tell when it's a leftist critique of the criminal justice system because I read it. So when I read this dude's work, I'm like, I can tell this dude not leftist, but he's nailing it. He's just doing it from a different worldview, which is shows why our system is so irredeemable. Because I don't think you even have to be a fucking Marxist to see how our system is ridiculous. You just got to be a brainwashed capitalist drone like the liberals in the Democratic Party and the conservatives in the Republican Party. So he talked about how he believed the system was a massive failure. But I want to read this part. Because now this is 2015. Right? He's making a pro defund the police argument here. People pretend this is new shit. People been calling out how ridiculous our police budgets is. So the idea people want to run away from this, oh, I don't want to use defund the police because the slogan, that's stupid as shit. I'm sorry. Because this is their weakest argument. So this is what it do. This is the interview, the crime report. You write that the United States spends about $260 billion a year on criminal justice. What do we get for our money? He says, this guy who is not a Marxist, it's an undeniable poor return on investment. And then he explains why. What pretty much I broke down, the recidivism rates, and he go over like, bro, this is ineffective. If you want to create productive, and I'm summing up this interview because it's a long interview. Excuse me. He's essentially saying if you're not creating productive citizens in your rehabilitation system, which is a criminal justice system, it's failing. And we're spending, and he's like, in his capitalist mind, I think he's like, we spending how much for this shit? You see how dumb it is to run away from the fiscal conversation of policing? It's their biggest blind spot. I promise you.
I think it's sort of like it's one of those things where you've built up. It's sort of, so here's an example. You've built up so much fear in people in COVID, for example. You build up a lot of fear. Oh yeah, and it's, and then you wonder why people aren't going out getting these jobs. That's front facing, like it has like an effect. So yeah.
So I want to show. I got some more. I got some more to break down for you guys to show how ridiculous the tough on crime era was, and people are still brainwashed by tough on crime ideology. These are the people who flinch when they hear defund the police.
Yeah.
The people who flinch when they hear they're like, what? You want to get rid of policing? Like, these are these people, right? So look at this study. Right. I got these for days. Zoya got more than me, guys. Zoya and Aqua got more than me. But us abolitionists, we can do this all day. Check this out. This is the results of tough on crime prison approach to policing. New study shows that tough on crime generation spent more time in prison. And I remember I mentioned before, you had the crime rate that over the last 10 years slowly has been going down, despite all the fear-mongering they've been doing. Right? But despite that, they spend more time in prison. So what is the goal of tough on crime policing? Has nothing to do with serving society. It's for filling prison beds.
Profits, exactly.
For profits.
It's for profits.
Then
and that's what I don't think people put is a gap either in understanding or propaganda is lodged in their mind where they're not making the connection. Like how are we spending this amount of money, and how many people say I've reported a crime and that shit didn't get solved? I reported this stolen, I reported that stolen, and that shit didn't get solved. Like we're basically spending what $200 and some odd billion for ticket writers. That's essentially like what they. I mean, that's the bulk of their job is writing tickets. We already established is not to prevent crime. That's just simply not their job. So, but this is an important point here.
Yeah.
What it is the industrial part. So when we say prison industrial complex, this is the industrial complex part of this problem where the crime rate is going down, but you still got people that's making money off this industry. They don't give a damn about no crime rate going. They don't give a damn about people being nicer and not committing crimes. Fuck all of that shit. And I think part of, because by this time, Nick, there's hundreds of years of that they have built up where people who are less going to commit crime, they understand this. So I think that is the reason. Is always we're cutting this, we're cutting that, but we're not cutting the thing that is the chunk that we would save, which is the military. You're just eating along the edges when you're cutting welfare. You know how much of that of every dollar that is? Like, this is such a small amount compared to like the military industrial complex, but it's all propaganda. They talk them into believing. I don't see how this is going to be fixed, though, because with capitalism, people with capital don't never want to say, okay, I'm going to stop making money that way. Like, so how is a prison industrial complex? How can it be reformed? It cannot be, as long as there is a profit motive in it. But I'm going on a tangent. Go ahead, Nick. That next.
No, that's perfect, because this is the argument that we continue to make, and this is the argument that Critic was making on debunking the police state propaganda. So he's arguing it from a pure fiscal conversation. So I'll pluck this up because I don't want to go through the article again. And he cites, ever since 2005, and this is according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, you have 53% of the prisoners that were released, they were rearrested in 3 years. And then his argument is, he said, for those who want tougher penalties for federal prisoners, what they're doing, you are ignoring the cost of this over incarceration and the goal of trying to get people back into the system. But what he doesn't lay out, and this is why I don't think he's a leftist. I think he's just someone who's making a neutral assessment of our police state. He don't understand that's the goal. Like, it seems like he's giving them more benefit of doubt when I read his critique. He's saying it like, oh, the people who listen to my critique who don't agree with me, they doing it because we just have a substantive disagreement. No, this guy needs to understand the police state is designed the way he is criticizing it. He is criticizing our police state because he's like, oh, our system actually designed to get people who release like 54% of them back in the system, one way or another.
It sounds like a white person who is giving criticism, the same criticism, but through the lens where he think, wait a minute, don't we want our police to be like what we see on TV, where they solve every crime and you get what I'm saying? It's from that perspective of not get rid of it. It's just this, let's make this more effective in being what we say it is. So that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Now y'all know why I said we can do it either way. Even using their logic, you can pick apart this police state. And I can explain why I think he can go even further. I can explain why the system as it is, use my Marxist language. But you don't even have to be, once again, you don't even have to be a Marxist to point this out. You don't have to be far left to point this out. This is why I'm able to find area of commonality with conservatives I talk to in my personal experience, right? Because one of the first things I do when conservatives over is talk about the war on drugs. Because I know for a goddamn fact, rednecks like their weed too. I know them here. You talk about the war on drugs, you get these motherfuckers sound like a lefty real quick. Yeah, I think we should legalize marijuana, all this stuff. So why don't people lead with that shit first? People who died, people want to talk about everything else except our criminal justice system. That's the easiest way to win people over. Because even though people may fall for propaganda, people inherently know it's bullshit. People, like, all you gotta do is explain it. We educators. That's what we gotta do.
Well, when you say people run away from it, I think there might be, like, I don't see people like Afeni, like black people of color activists, sort of running away, sort of running away from this topic. And I think if we're talking about some of our white comrades, it is the same indoctrination that people that are against defund the police that they've received too. So none of that is different to them. So even from the perspective that they are now a leftist, that could still be a blind spot for them. And it's not their fault. We have to understand the propaganda about the police is really for white people. It's not really for us. because we are experiencing it. We know that shit is bullshit.
Listen to our rap song.
It's
We
for
never believe
white
that
people.
shit.
Yeah, it's for white people to convince them. Make sure to keep all the black and brown people away from you. Make sure we're funding this shit over here. You get what I'm saying? It's not for us. We know that this is bullshit. We've been saying this is bullshit for literally over 100 years.
Why do you think the only people? Why do you think the only black people here talk about this on corporate media? Their net worth is like over $1 million.
Right.
You never. I challenge you guys. Listen one black person you see on CNN or MSNBC talk about defund the police who has a net worth less than $1 million. I remember in the early days of defund the police, they have Al Sharpton. They brought Al Sharpton, rich sellout ass, who's literally like a CIA, FBI informant, right?
Yeah, he's terrible.
He was literally an FBI informant, and now he was like, Al Sharpton, what do you think black people think about defund the police? Oh, black people, this is a movement full of white liberals, and black people don't support this. Meanwhile, as I reported, even at the height of the unpopularity of defund the police, in the 538 poll, remember the poll I told you guys?
Yeah.
Where defund the police was minus 35? In that same poll, black people support defund the police 3 out of 4. 75%. So the whole thing narrative, I'm telling you guys, this whole narrative that black people are against defund the police and it's only white people that are pushing it, it is quite literally the opposite.
Yes.
And I pulled the receipts if you guys don't believe me, but from day one, and it was reported in that same poll, and no media ever covered it. In 538 by Nate Silver, and his poll that every media quoted when it said defund police is massively unpopular. If you look in that article, if you dig, that same article says there are two groups where defund the police is now underwater: Democrats and black people. Now, the reason why the Democrat number is so high is because of black people and Latinos.
Yes.
I'll show you guys a receipt later, but I need to get going because I'm already a little bit.
No, the smearing of defund the police it's a made up game. It's made up. We know that it's not true. They're using fake numbers, crime rate bullshit numbers, and you notice they always use percentage. That is a propaganda tactic, because if you have 100 and if you have 10 and then you have 13 now, you can say the crime rate went up 30% instead of saying we had 3 more additional crimes. You get what I'm saying? It makes it sound worse, but it's all to cultivate a fear about poor people, black people, people of color, so that white people are fine. You've seen that video I did with Malcolm X. You convince white people. He says what I said. The propaganda is for white people. And in the video, I'll bring it up before we leave. He says, you convince white people the government convinced white people through propaganda that the black people are the criminal, and then white people are fine with all the brutality. They're fine with the police state being funded. They're fine with all of that stuff if you convince that. And he says it a lot better, but I'll bring it up. Back to you, Nick.
Yeah, so you gave me a chance to find the receipts. I want to break this down. I remember we talked about this. I couldn't find it at the time. I actually found I found a source that I couldn't find. So I'm gonna take the time for new viewers. So I want our viewers to know, because the goal here, we may not have a giant platform, but our viewers are gonna be able to spot bullshit. When you guys watch other people like Kyle Kalinske, who misleads people on defunded police polling, I want you guys to know what he did, because I still can't believe he did it. The media critics that will break down polls and explain why the media lies to you, you notice that they fall for police propaganda, though. And here I'm gonna break down why that is. So remember Kyle Kalinske's video on defund the police. He said defund the police is a bad slogan because 1 out of 5 Americans don't support it. Why would you support a slogan that's unpopular? So dumb. So this is the headline he got it from. The media critic Kyle Kalinske. Fewer than 1 in 5 support defund the police. So let's look into the fucking poll. That number is that high because they polled a significantly higher amount of white people and Republicans. Right? The survey found that 67% of Democrats, these are the people that we make fun of. 67% when just straight up asked, they support redistributing portions of police budgets. Oh, Nick, that's only Democrats though. Well, I'm gonna get to the independent number, but now I'm gonna show you Well, it has always been true, right? Black voters support distributing portions of police funds to social programs. 63% does. 63%. 63. You would never know that. And once again, as someone who's been watching, the media has been saying that the defund the police movement is a movement led by white liberals. Most white voters surveyed support fully funding the police. 65% of white people think police budgets should remain the same.
Let me interject here. And the reason that is,
Yep.
you don't need social programs in your neighborhoods. Why would you want to divert funds from the police to what? What social program? We don't have any. I make six figures. What are you talking about? So it's a completely different perspective. And this is the reason why these is two things they do in these polls about defund the police. They oversample white people. That's a big thing, Nick.
And you see how the numbers
That's a big thing.
And CJ, you see how the numbers are flipped? Literally, like 63% black people defund the police. 65% of white people do. So what they do? They overpoll white people. Then they say one outside America.
Yeah. Right. That particular poll needs to be where if they're strategically have to go out and make that poll diverse in order to get an accurate sort of showing of it. Hold on a second. Yeah, damn, I lost the second thought. I'm gonna get it back and then I'll.
Yeah, it's cool. Let me show you. Let me share this part too, and then we can move on because I just want to share this receipt because I couldn't find it last time we talked about this. So you were like, oh, those are just Democrats, right? So here's another poll. This is the polling that no one reported on. Look at the date, January 12th, 2021. At this point in time, everyone was running with the narrative that the defund the police movement is hurting the Democratic Party, that it's toxic and people should abandon it. But what no one reported on was the exit polling. And remember, CJ, I told you, they stopped asking these motherfuckers, man. Because I've been looking.
They knew the results. They're like, oh, no, we're not asking this shit no more.
They stopped asking people.
Here's the other point.
Go ahead.
When they say black people don't support, they specifically are talking about black boomers. Those are the two things. When you see a poll, I dare you to find a poll where it's negative about defund the police, where it's not oversampling black boomers, or they're not oversampling like Republicans or conservatives.
I didn't do the breakdown. I can imagine the breakdown between the ages there.
Yes,
I actually don't know the breakdown. I didn't see in the poll. I don't know they even dived in. But
they may not ask. They know who they asked. They just not telling us. You get what I'm saying?
Now I think about it, CJ, because you brought that up too. You just brought that up. I actually didn't think about it like that. That 64% of black voters, how many of that is oversampling older black people? And it's still that high. Imagine if they just asked, let's do a poll of black people under 50, what that number would be.
Under 30, under 35. Yeah. That number will be, I think that number will be in the 50s, if not 60s. I'm sorry, in the 60s, if not 70s. If the lower the number, the lower the age bracket.
I think if you do under 30, I think about you get like 80-90% of black people.
Yeah.
That believe that you had left police funding. But that's just speculation. Let's dive into the numbers here. Because I showed you the other debunking. And when I saw that video, man, I watched you and Savvy respond to that. I didn't see that video until then. I was so shocked that Kyle fell for this shit. And I don't got a lot of expectations for him, but when he fell for it, I was like, I told you. These white leftists, they turn off their critical thinking when it comes to the police state. So I quoted the same article that showed black people and Democrats supported how they oversample white people. And also, if you say, oh, well, it's just Democrats, it's just far left. Here's the exit polling from last election. This is before FHL. I reported this on my old channel. No one else did. No one else. They reported on this part. I seen white leftists talk about this. A majority of swing district voters supported Medicare for all. 82%. So I saw a ton of white progressives, and I saw the progressive movement tweeting this number out. And then I came to this article. I was like, wait, where do you get that from? I want to see the other policies. So I literally found this because of this number. Then if you go down, this is the number that the progressive movement never talked about. They talk about this one. They wrote articles about this one. Then the last bullet point here. In this exit polling of the last election, a majority of voters want to reallocate the funds from their local police budget to crime prevention initiatives such as counseling, drug treatment, job training, and education, aka they want to follow the 10 Demands program. That's literally our program on 10 Demands. And this is 74% Democrats, which matched the Nate Silver polling that showed that not an outlier.
Now, when you say people tweeted out the other one, when you say, you talking about liberals or are you talking about leftists?
No, like the progressive movement. Like I saw like David Schroeder, like the progressive satellite, not like the Hillary Clinton people, but I saw like Bernie people after the election. They was like, see, this is evidence that we need Medicare for all because Medicare for all is popular. That's how I found this article. I found this article because I just read it. I told you guys, you guys know I do a lot of reading. I read this article,
but they missed that part. They didn't. And then I got to
this part, CJ. I was like, bro, what? And then I immediately reported on it the next day. But you see this? 55% of independents and third-party voters. Huh? You want to know what the largest voting bloc is in this country?
Yeah. Independents. That's why they don't ask the question no more. That's why they skew the poll. Quit. Like, you literally can't believe any of those polls they're talking about. Like the crime rate. Nick, I don't remember none of those numbers because literally they're just made up lies. They're made up lies. There's no sense. And the thing is, they're made up lies that has evidence behind it. You know what I mean? Oh, we have this. I don't believe nothing you say about anything. So,
and you had a good point, CJ. And you had a good point because you mentioned this on another stream. As activists, those polls don't fucking matter. And I made this argument when the George Floyd protest started. When I saw the number was underwater, I was like, who gives a fuck? Let's start making an argument. The civil rights movement wasn't popular when it first started.
Absolutely not.
I'm telling you guys, I'm blown away. If you watch my old streams, go to my old YouTube channel, my old streams, look around the George Floyd protest. I was telling my audience at the time, I was like, guys, I know it's unpopular right now, but we got to make the argument. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, we may shift. I was literally telling people that. I was like, maybe 5-10 years, we can shift. We are at right now where I thought we was going to be in maybe 2030. So I'm actually blown away at the progress, despite the narrative. And the narrative,
and that's why they're attacking it, Nick, because they know if it's here in 10 years, that shit is going to be a realization. They know that it's not less. I'm just giving it, abroad. But let's say 10 years. That's why I know we need to attack it, and we need to attack it. We need to attack it. But the thing is, Nick, it's not working. It's not working because of networks like ours that's making sure we're keeping it on the forefront. And I do got to give a shout out, Cori Bush not backing down about it, because that doesn't allow them to demonize it in the sense like they want to talk about it, like they would talk about any other black issue. But because Cori Bush is a Democrat and they don't want to seem like they're piling on a black woman who's their core, right? And she's still against it, they try to give her a little bit of it prevents them from going all in on that, calling it stupid and whatever else, other sort of race baiting they want to do about it.
I'm still shocked they pretend they support it. And Cori Bush, she really does support it because she was an activist here. A1 Ferguson knew her. Mm-hmm. The problem with Cori Bush, and I talked about it on the show before, she's a horrible communicator at this issue.
Yeah, she is.
Cori Bush is so horrible. And you guys see how I cover this issue. You guys see how I talk about it. You guys see how I debunk the talking points. Cori Bush was a good leader and a good organizer.
She should hire you. She should hire you to be the spokesperson on this.
And guys, I got a lot of disappointment with Cori Bush, but guys, there's a reason why people were disappointed at Cori, because as an activist and as an organizer on the ground, and this comes from Missouri, guys, so trust me, a lot of people have faith in Cori Bush. That's why it's a massive disappointment what she became, because she really was about that life. But and I noticed this whenever I heard her talk, and I don't know a lot of people remember this, but when she was a candidate, she went on Fox News and she kind of made an ass of herself. It was a story at the time. She never was a really good communicator of progressive ideas. She was just the organizer, right? And then I literally see her talk about defund the police, and I'm like, damn, she about hurt our movement, bro. she's not good at talking. She's not good at talking about this shit. Like people, like the right wing commentary.
Not to these people. She's good at talking to the people in her community about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she would give
can't
a
talk
speech.
to these people about it. No.
Yeah, she would give a good speech like about it. But when she was like pressed by like right wing reporters, like she would kind of crumble, fall, like she wouldn't be confident, and it's small stuff like that that makes the movement look bad. Because then people were like, oh, she can't even
She
defend
needs to be educated
defund the
more. It
police.
sounds like
So that's
she needs to be educated more. Maybe she needs a lesson in 10 demands or something. But it sounds like she needs to be educated so she can articulate it
yeah.
more
So
because she
that's my criticism of her. Like, I wish she just better because anyway, I don't want to get into it because we are actually behind.
yeah, we're good. Go ahead
My whole
to
thing
the
with
next
defunding the police and the squad, like they fucking sold us out on that. But at least Corey Bush, like her job is to remain face on that. Like we talk about how the squad rotate their votes, so they have some people be the good guy, some people be the bad guy. They made sure that Corey Bush maintained face on that. But the squad don't get twisted, guy. They're not supportive of defunding police. They help the Capitol Police get more funding as well. So let's see what I'm trying to see. Damn, I'm behind. We almost an hour in.
go ahead wherever you want to take it.
I'm still
I
behind.
told
Okay,
you why, so I didn't want to add no other stories.
yeah, I just not looked at the list. I just looked at my notes. I'm hella behind. So, I'm gonna get to this part. I think once I get this part, I think we'd be good. I'll do the next part. I probably want to get to the other story. We see. So we started with Eric Adams, and over the course of the last 50 minutes, we talk about how tough on crime policing is horrific. And I want to let me pull this other article up just so for the new viewers. This is the article where that even the establishment is like, yo, this whole crime rate thing is not really working out for you, Eric Adams. Because we broke down how tough and crime police don't work. Capitalist policing is deeply unserious to the point of trying to get their goal, right? Like they got a goal, but in order to justify it, they sound really unserious, right? So Adams even been called out. He ran on tough on crime policing, but crime is skyrocketing. Remember, we can use their language too in order to debunk their propaganda. We can debunk their language, but also can use their language to debunk them. So let's use their ideology and going by their bullshit. You failed, Eric Adams. All the Democratic mayors that run on giant police states, they have failed. But what is the message of this show, and what in the message of abolitionists and 10 demands that we want you guys to understand? This is not the role of policing. It's the role of policing not to decrease crime. So even though the media and people may hit Eric Adams, oh, the crime rate haven't fallen. Eric Adams, I assure you, do not give a shit. I assure you, this is the theater. So Eric Adams knows what the role of the police is. The role of the police is to protect capital. Are we clear? And not to protect you, because in the Supreme Court, it was decided after police ran during the school shooting that there is no legal precedent for them to protect you. Once again, I am citing the laws of the colonizers. These are your laws. They say police don't have to protect us, right? So Eric Adams, who's been a cop before, I think he was like a police lieutenant, who now a mayor of New York, so he's like the top cop now. You think he don't know this? So what has Eric Adams been focused on? Once again, he don't give a fuck about decreasing violent crime. This is what he's there to do. Remember, what did I tell you on this show? I told you the reason why the police state is escalating is because capitalism, late-stage capitalism, is continuing to fail more and more people. Capitalism must extract profits, even though they're making record profits. So where do their profits come from? It comes from your labor value. Hence, more people will be in poverty. More people going to go homeless. Our real estate continue to jack up. And the capitalists understand this because despite playing dumb, they understand Marxism too. They understand what will happen when society fails to provide for their workers. You get more homeless, get more poor. Thus, petty theft and crime goes up. Those are what's connected. When you look at statistics, not even just in America, but throughout all societies, whenever there's economic downturn, crime goes up. More theft, robbery. It's tied to your economic condition. They know this. They pretend not to, but they do. The message of RBN, these people are not dumb. They are just evil and they're extremely calculating. So Eric Adams, and we've been covering this on the show, has been waging a historic war against the homeless in New York. Now there's reports and rumors how Eric Adams want to roll back stop and frisk. What do you think that's for? So he can impose regressive fines and fees on the working class. Once again, if you're a leftist, if you're a socialist, if you're a Marxist, if you're class conscious, there are a lot of people who are scared to call themselves socialists, so they just say, "Oh, I'm class conscious." That's what that means.
Weak. That's weak as fuck. That's
Sorry, guys.
weak.
Sorry,
Say
guys.
what
At
you mean.
RBN,
Say it with your chest.
sorry, guys. At RBN, we can't see through it. The people that ask me how you feel about right wing populism, not impressed. You scared of China's capitalism, right? But if you think even if you are one of them people, and you agree with us on police state, you understand this is the issue we must lead with. As capitalism continues to get worse, you're gonna have mayors continue to crack down on homelessness people. Mm-hmm. We see in New York, but I reported on this months ago in California, where police was evicting homeless people off a homeless encampment by gunpoint. This is the future of America, guys. This liberal democracy that you guys think you have, this First Amendment right that you think you have, ask Julian Assange about that. The Second Amendment right that you think you have, ask Amir Locke about that. The Fourth Amendment right you think you have, ask Breonna Taylor about that. It doesn't exist. So this is what we should be arguing. Not no stupid bullshit about slaps. About, the Democrats, what about the Republicans? The Republicans, we got to vote for. You see how there's serious leftists and there are unserious leftists. We know who you are.
And Nick, I must say, interject here, in covering socialism and reading up on Karl Marx, he talks about this dividing the proletariat with manufactured nonsense. He literally talks about this, which to me is amazing. How so much of what is talked about there in studying this is actually happening right now. Like we're living through what has been said. So yeah, just wanted to interject that.
So I have one last thing to cover, and then we're gonna go to Jim Psaki and the new propaganda. So our next story,
I saw that.
Our next story, we're gonna talk about how the Democrats are coping with Biden's poll numbers. So that's next. Stay tuned. But I got one more thing I want to cover in the story. So this will be like an hour breakdown of the police state that we do all the time, right? So I am making an argument, and you guys know the police state has never been good, but it's getting worse. After the George Floyd protest, after the massive march, and after the polling showing that people wanted to increase the police state, what do we know as socialists? Capitalists will never concede without struggle. They saw that and they didn't concede to us. They doubled down. They Biden said we're gonna fund the police more. Republicans start waving Blue Lives Matter flags. And you guys think I'm gonna show you guys this article. And I was reading this in prep of the story, and I had a different takeaway than I thought I would have. Right? So here's another op-ed talking about how tough on crime policies have failed, right? But look at the date. October 31st, 2017. So this is before the George Floyd. Before, I told you, this is not new information. So what are these people saying who are not Marxists or socialists by any stretch of the imagination if you're working at the Washington Examiner?
Right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, look at this article. I was reading this in Prepper today, and I actually had a different take. I thought it went a different direction. I thought it was going to go. So this is why I'm telling you why the police state is doubling down and escalating, because I remember this. Remember the Trump criminal justice bill? You have all these Republicans that will come in and support legalization.
Mm-hmm.
And as we read through this article, think about the rhetoric that is coming from both the Democratic Party and Republican Party now. And remember the date. This is October 31st, 2017. So this is 5 years ago. So I'm going to show you guys how the capitalists got freaked out because of the George Floyd protest. So let's go through this article. This is an intro talking about exploding prison populations. I skipped this part. So look at who is named here. This is Senator Chuck Grassley, the Republican for Iowa. He introduced the Sentencing Reform and Corrections Act. You had Dick Durbin, Mike Lee, a Republican. Now, let me give you this disclosure. We started tampering demands for a reason because we don't think these reforms are enough. But Grassley bill and their bill was designed to change federal sentencing and have their reform because they acknowledge that this police state was out of control. And do you guys remember this? I know Americans got short memories, but remember when Trump was like propping up, like, "Oh, I got criminal justice reform bill," right? And he had a lot of black celebrities that fell for it. Once again, I do want to emphasize it never was enough. But my point is, we went from even the Republican Party admitting that tough on crime policy doesn't work, and then they have reforms that they were going to do to fix it. That's what this article goes over. This article goes over the conservative argument on why we should reform our system, right? Now, this shit is completely gone from discourse. What do you see from discourse now? We got to fund the police more. Then now talks about bringing stop and frisk back. Yeah, mirror lock killers being released. Breonna Taylor killer is being released. The police state has escalated. Once again, as abolitionists, we was never happy with the reforms. We got body cams out of these reforms. But ever since now, the capitalism continue to fail, and people continue to get into more poverty, they completely switched the rhetoric from, "Oh, we want to at least clean up this fucking Jim Crow system that Biden fixed." Now they all for, "Oh, we got to fund the police more, fund prison system more, fuck the far lefties who want to go after our police system." So I end the story on that. Any last thoughts, CJ?
Yeah, I do have this is the video that sums up. This is actually a good ending to this segment here. So this is the video I found where I'm sure you've seen it several times because I've tweeted it out several times. This is a very good video where he sums up propaganda, the effectiveness of propaganda on white people and how that affects black people. So here it goes.
Once the police have convinced the white public that the so-called Negro community is a criminal element, they can go in and question, brutalize, murder unarmed, innocent Negroes, and the white public is gullible enough to back them up. This makes the Negro community a police state. This makes the Negro neighborhood a police state. It's the most heavily patrolled. It has more police in it than any other neighborhood, yet it has more crime in it than any other neighborhood. How can you have more cops and more crime? Why? It shows you that the cops must be in cahoots with the criminal.
But there's a lot of people that want to pretend.
He was just brilliant at that. Go ahead. What'd you say?
But this is that makes our point earlier. Remember, a lot of people want to pretend this is new shit. That's Malcolm X.
Yeah, 1963, I think it said. I can't remember.
This has been common sentiment in the black community. Common sentiment. And there are a lot of people that want to claim these motherfuckers. I've seen Democrats that claim Malcolm X. I've seen people that trying to claim Fred Hampton.
Yeah. Even MLK, it's like you guys have completely distorted.
Like black boomers, like, sir. You voted for Kamala Harris. Like, you and Malcolm X would not be friends. In no stretch of the imagination.
Right. And I'm glad I'm gonna cover it. And I'm gonna cover that. Hopefully you're able to join. That's actually the one I really want you to join. The I am the revolution. You can join anyone you want. But when we talk about the black radical tradition and how we're so far from that, and especially boomers are just so far behind, or just our black radical tradition, like how we just fall in line behind wars. That is not a tradition of black radicals. That's not a tradition really of the black community. Just falling in line. We were front line of anti-war with Vietnam, all of them. We were front line, front and center against the war. So it's like we've bought into the black bourgeoisie and living vicarious through them, through rap, through TV, through just looking up through them, and feel like we've accomplished something as a people. And I feel like that is just so off base. But Nick, unless you have some other words, I do want to shout out the Substack one more time before you go to the Jen Pizaki video.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did check the Substack just to see if we had some people, and we did. So I do want to shout out the Substack one more time. We now have de facto mailing lists, which is our Substack. So if you join our Substack, you enter your email, and anytime we do a post or a video, or we're gonna be writing too. That's another thing, Nick. I know you have your Substack.
Oh yeah, I'm actually gonna get back into writing too. So yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
I want us to do writing on this one too. It's not gonna be a lot, but here and there, do some writing, do our podcast content. But if you go here, we're able to notify you every time we drop content. It'll come directly to your email, where you literally you just click the videos right in your email. You just click it and you can watch it from your email. And all you got to do, join us here. I'll put it in the chat again, and that's all I got. You can get to the next story.
So before we move on to the Jim Psaki, I'm gonna share 2 links real quick because these are 2 that we didn't get time to get to. But I just want to present them. No setup. But you guys know what we just covered. So we didn't get through these, but I want to read them quickly. I think they speak for themselves. We talk about how the police protect to serve capital. I may do a more in-depth story. I didn't get time to break this down, but look at this. So quickly, there were climate scientists that were protesting the lack of climate action. So you want to know the response from the LAPD? What the fuck is this? This is the response to 4 scientists that are climate protesting. So maybe we gotta break that down to another stream because I'm quickly going through this.
That's a joke. What?
Oh, you can comment. Go ahead, CJ. What you got to take on this? Because I actually want to.
This is the first time I'm seeing this video. It's just what the.
All right, let me do it justice. I can take. I spent 5 minutes because CJ's now seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
So this is good. I found it from People's City Council. So this is a response to the 4 climate scientists. They chained themselves to this building because they were protesting the lack of climate action. So the police, because their job is not to protect you. Are we clear? Their job is to serve capital. So you have scientists that are calling out capitalists for the lack of climate action, and the cops who are capitalist bootlickers, they can't have that. So they come up in force, fully armed. And now think about this, guys. How much money they spend on this? Don't run away from the fiscal conversation. They have to justify their budgets. Look how bored these motherfuckers are. They got nothing to do, so they pulled the whole squad up on 4 scientists.
Yeah. That happens in the hood. You know how many times it'll be like, I would be driving by, Nick. I'll see 9 cars, and then I'll get closer. It's one dude on the bike sitting on the curb. And I'm like, y'all got 9 cars for this?
Bro, we see it all the time. We see it all the time in the black community. Here, I would see like there'll be a black like these cops. They always pull people here on this intersection I live on here. Like they'll pull over like an old black grandma, but then there'll be like 4 squad cars. Why the fuck you need 4 squad cars as reinforcement? I'm literally looking at the person who pulled over. It's an older black woman who maybe babysitting a toddler. What are you doing? They fucking around. But y'all want to run from the fiscal conversation. Once again, it's our easiest layup against goons.
I think if you're speaking to our white leftist comrades, I think it might not be running away for the reasons you're thinking. They may be running away for the reasons that it could be an uneasy topic that they're unfamiliar with because they've been propagandized about the criminalization of black people just like everybody else. And even if they fighting those urges of that conditioning, it could still be there. It could be still residual effects where they feel uneasy in saying that we're really going to defund the police. So maybe that could be the case.
All right, one last quick one. We get to the next story. I want to share this because I want you guys to know who the cops are. The FBI did a report in 2004 that showed that the police was infiltrated by white supremacist militias, and they found memos from white supremacist leaders from the KKK in the 60s and 50s that said, okay, society is shifting. The best way that we can uphold white supremacy and white dominance is joining the official institutional racism. And people are like, oh my God, you guys are just leftists who read too much history and theory. But here's another, guys, I promise you, This story comes out almost every week. I don't report on all of them. I'm gonna start literally pulling them up every time I see them from now on, just to let you guys know how often this shit happens. Illinois police officer resigns after white supremacist post, and this guy was a long time police officer. And I know it look veteran police officer. I forgot how many years he served. Meanwhile, I'm doing this quick, but he was a long time police officer, and he wrote hate crime. He wrote stuff on social media like, we gotta look the other way against hate crimes on black people. We gotta go after black people. Here's one I see right here. He said, if I found a genie and I had one wish, the Jews will be a distant memory in 72 hours. So I'm not talking about like light racism. I'm talking about hardcore. I want all Jews to die.
He just needs training. He just needs training, Nick. That's it. Just training. You know, a 3 months training class, Nick, is going to tear down 30, 40 years of racist conditioning by this person. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know if white America even hear themselves. I don't even know they even hear themselves. When we tell you the police has been infiltrated by neo-Nazi white supremacist goons, we're not bullshitting you. I didn't get to a story. I'm going to get to it. I got to say it in my notes. I got to dig through it. But there was this other cop who was exposed on Facebook by his family. I'm going to cover this here soon. It was one of those streams like, damn, I ran out of time. But I'm going to cover this. I literally got saved. He was like, guys, our police chief in this neighborhood, I don't got to say it, I don't remember on top of my head. He was like, bro, his dad was part of KKK. He did KKK and Klan rallies when he was a teenager. He still believes the ideology. And also his friend, who also is a police lieutenant, he's a part of the Klan. He literally went on Facebook and exposed his entire police family. But people were like, all we gotta do is give him more training. Guys, the Klan has infiltrated the police.
Oh.
And the people who don't fit in, if you're like, oh, I know my friend's a cop. If he fits in, he had Klan tendencies. Because the good cops leave. The good cops get drived out because they're a whistleblower.
Being a racist in this society is just really a character flaw. That's how they look at it. It's like having a lot of gas. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's stupid. Just some of the shit, Nick. I just can't believe these people fall for this shit, Nick. Some of the shit you just said. But go ahead.
Oh, all right. I know we're getting a little long here, but here it is. I'm not gonna read it all, but this is the story I didn't get a chance to get to. Like, I'm gonna read it here quick. The quick dude on Facebook exposing his posts, and then I'm not gonna read it because it's very long. But here's this part. This is the only part worth reading. My grandpa started out in the union with the Mississippi Power Company. From there, they went from recruiting men from the KKK and MS mob. I think MS is another white supremacist group. Because around the same time of segregation. So that's just a quick snippet talking about this dude exposing his family, talking about his grandpa was a recruiter for the KKK. And then if you look at all the rest of these screenshots, he talked about all the people in the police that they know that got KKK ideology. Here's more. Let's see if I want to see if I can find something quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But he talked about all the people who had institutional power in this community. Here's one. The Long Beach chief of police. He just start. This one he just dropped receipts on the crimes they did. So I'm gonna go through this story because it actually take a long time to go through that. That's the receipts. I'm gonna go through that in another segment. But this is who the cops are. You're not training them. You're not training them. But anyway, sorry. Let's get to the. Let's get to
story.
So this is gonna be funner because the police escalation can get us riled up. So let's start with this. Let me get my tabs organized. Let's start with this.
Just think back. Let me set it up. So just think back last summer. If you're a leftist and all the stuff you were saying about the Joe Biden administration was gonna happen, and you had people, no, once we get in, we're gonna push them left and this and that. We're gonna do these things. Just come along with us. And they vote shamed us. Michelle Obama came out and said, "Don't throw away your vote. You're gonna elect Trump and democracy is going to end." Just keep that in your mind with this next story.
So now you have Biden, despite all the progressive, like all the people saying we're going to push Biden left, we can either be the most progressive president since FDR. No matter the propaganda that come out of the White House, they can't tell people to don't believe their lying eyes. Don't listen to their lying ears. You can't tell people that forever. So people know what's up. Hey, motherfucker, you said we're going to get a $2,000 check. Hey, motherfucker, you said you're going to give a public option. Hey, I thought you said you're going to get this pandemic under control. And no matter where you fall on the COVID culture war, Biden has objectively failed. More people died under COVID-19 under Biden, and he had the vaccine.
That's so ridiculous.
Like, bro, Trump didn't have the
ridiculous.
vaccine. Biden had the vaccine, and they say it protects you. But more people die on your watch than Trump. No, no matter where you fall on the COVID culture war, that shit, you cannot say he did not fail. Even if you like super pro-vax, super anti-vax, no matter where you stand, the fact is Trump didn't have a vax, Biden had a vax, more people died on Biden. How the hell you fuck up that bad? Anyway, my point is, let me get into this. I don't want to say it too long. So now the Democrats trying to figure out, how do you message this? Now, CJ, feel free to chime in with your thoughts too. How do you message this with the election year coming up? Now, we all know the theory behind it. They don't really give a fuck, but they got at least pretend to try, right? So here's the devastating story. In a nutshell, Biden is more unpopular than Trump was at this point in his presidency. Probably the most unpopular president in modern American history at his point in the presidency. Kamala Harris is by far the most unpopular vice president at this point in her presidency. I think Dick Cheney may have been lower overall, but at this point, she was lower. I gotta look at the exact numbers.
like Satan reincarnated is the only person that beats Kamala Harris
overall. Like they said, Kamala got reached the low faster. Like she was lower than Dick Cheney was 1 year in. So you have this. I'm not gonna read all this stuff. This pretty much just talking about how Biden is deeply underwater. There was one snippet of information that panicked the Washington liberal establishment. I can't find it exactly in this article, but Biden youth support plummeted. It's like below 35%, which is and when they tracked it, Biden's drop in the youth support was the biggest drop in presidential history. Like the amount of support he lost because young people carried him to victory over Donald Trump, and then he actually had a pretty high approval rating with young people. I remember we covered this, and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" They was like, "Remember,
just give it some time."
When he first got in office, you get the first presidential storm, and they're like, "Biden, look at Biden's approval rating." So he actually had a pretty good approval rating, like over 50% with young people. And I was like, "What?" That's just like under 35% now. So now they're fucked because the Republican Party wiped Democrats with older voters and boomers. Biden and Democrats won. They won the Senate because of young voters. The young voters, who we think is pretty naive, Biden told you guys that he had no empathy for you. He literally said that. Why were you guys ever supporting him? But even those people who are not as radical as we are, right? They was like, I think Joe Biden, the lesser of two evil. And then not only, the thing is, you got to realize this. These are people who supported Biden, right? So not only did they not think Biden was the lesser of two evils, these are the people who was like, I actually like the Democrat Party. They are losing support from Biden. So the Democrats got to find a way.
So you're saying like the K-Hive people.
Yes.
The K-Hive people is,
guys, in order for his numbers to be as low as it is, he has to lose people who voted for him. That like once you get to like the 30%, you dig into your own support. Because like presidents start off with like 50%. Now you're in the 30s, bro. You lost like, what was that? 1/5 of your support, if I do the math right. That's like 1/5 of your like core support that's just gone. Probably my math is all fucked up. But so what? How do you message this? And there are a lot of reasons why Biden is failing. So Jen Psaki, she might be an MSNBC host.
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to play the video because they're being grilled about their failure.
Didn't Simone Sanders go there also?
Yeah, rats are leaving, fleeing ships. Liberals are so dumb. They saw Jen Psaki leaving the White House to go MSNBC. They was like, "This is great. Jen Psaki's about to slay on MSNBC." No, for real. I literally be stalking liberal Twitter just to see what these motherfuckers be saying. When Jen Psaki went to MSNBC, they thought it was a good thing. But then people was like, "Why are you guys celebrating? This is a horrific sign. Like, people don't leave a successful White House.
Absolutely not.
Like, the fact that people are fleeing the Biden administration, like Kamala Harris lost her like chief, she lost Simone Sanders, and she lost someone else who was high ranking.
And that other person that left didn't say good things on the way out either.
So that's not a good sign. But liberals are so serious, like we tell on the show, they're dumb, just like Trump supporters. I want you guys to realize that. They don't even realize that's a bad thing. And Jen Psaki is saying what she says here because she knows the Democratic voters are dumb. So I let the video clip play. You gotta know what I mean when I say that.
So because of the actions we've taken to address the Putin price hike, we are in a better place than we were last month. But we expect March CPI headline inflation to be extraordinarily elevated due to Putin's price hike. And we expect a large difference between core and headline inflation, reflecting the global disruptions in energy and food markets. So core inflation doesn't include energy and food prices. Headline inflation does. And of course, we know that core inflation, energy, the impact of energy, of course, on oil prices, gas prices, we expect that to continue to reflect what we've seen the increases be over the course of this invasion. And just as an example, since President Putin's military buildup accelerated in January, average gas prices are up more than 80 cents. Most of the increase occurred in the month of March, and at times gas prices were more than $1 above pre-invasion level. So that roughly 25% increase in gas prices will drive tomorrow's inflation reading. And certainly it's not a surprise to us, but we certainly think it will be reflected.
Now, guys, I told you. It's so funny to me. When I see stuff like that, that's not Jen Psaki and Biden making the mockery of the American people. I show you the numbers. The American people see through it. That Jen Psaki in the Biden administration saying, hey, our supporters are dumbasses who will believe anything we say. You think they're making fun of us? You think they're mocking our intelligence? We see through it. That's them saying our supporters are dumbasses who won't question anything we say. CJ, go ahead.
No, I'm going to piggyback off that because this clip here, if you ever heard of the GOP war room, they cut clips that talk about bad stuff about the Democrats. Listen to this here. Black, Hispanic, and Asian American voters rejecting woke white Democrats. So they're trying to spin as this going too far left, and that's why we're about to lose in the midterms.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So let's listen.
And Rev, I want to talk to you about
Rev, of course. He's the black guy.
That a lot of Democrats.
Right. This is what they do. They trot out a black capitalist to say all the right things for the black workers to hear so that black people can go, oh, they're black people and said it, so let's go ahead and go and do it.
I can already tell you about saying the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
Just the look on his face, huh? Like that's the look of I'm about to say something that I'm selling out to my community. That's the look that's what I get from that. I haven't seen the video, Nick. So I don't know what he's gonna say. Let's see what he says.
That's in the Beltway in D.C. have that you don't, and you've been warning about. But let's just say it right here, and let me say it slowly for my Democratic friends in Washington, D.C. Black voters are more conservative than you are. White woke leaders in Washington, D.C.
White? Who is he talking about? What white woke leaders is he talking about?
Bro, CJ, Joe thinks that white America is to our left. We just debunked it. It's like, why? Now you guys know why I break down the numbers. Because when I break down the defund the police number, it's the exact opposite.
Yes.
He's trying to say that white people are driving black people to the left. No, y'all motherfuckers holding us back. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, CJ.
No, that was a great point. But let's listen more to see what I want to see what Al says. Yeah, I want to see.
Only a few seconds in, and it was already
20 seconds in.
Hispanic voters are more conservative than you are. White woke leaders in Washington, D.C. Asian American voters are more conservative than you are. White woke voters in Washington, D.C. And they're more conservative on crime. They're more conservative on education. They're more.
Dude, I just showed y'all the numbers. I just showed y'all. And y'all, I told you the biggest purveyors of misinformation It's MSNBC and CNN. That is a straight up lie. Like, there's no difference between a lie you would see on Sean Hannity and what he just said. If you watching, if you just joined the stream, rewind like 30 minutes. I literally did a polling that showed the exact opposite. Where whenever they quote the defunded police numbers, the reason why they dilute the overall number is because they oversample white people. Black people, even at the height of them popularity, 3 out of 4 of them support defunding the police. Wonder if Al Sharpton gonna put back on that.
He's not. He never does because he has to
Let's
keep
see.
his show. He has to keep his time slots, so he's not pushing back on them.
Now you guys
Let's
know why.
listen.
Now you know why we will never be on this shit. Because as soon as he started, I was like, wait, Joe, what?
What are you saying? What are you saying, Joe? Oh, Joe.
They'll pull a Jim
More conservative on
They'll
quote
kick us off.
these woke issues.
So this is what they put up, Nick. It says midterm issues for Democrats. Woke up. I guess I don't. I'm trying to put this propaganda together, so you may have to help me. But censoring of conservative voices on social media.
Oh my god!
College campuses becoming liberal echo chambers.
Oh.
The push to be politically correct. Canceling. Now, Nick, think about this, Nick.
Bruh.
This is the liberal station, Nick.
Bruh.
This is
Bruh,
the
this is so
liberal
bad.
station that they are trying to pull to the right. So people like I was, when I was a liberal, I'm going to look at the liberal shit. I'm a progressive. So I go to MSNBC, but they're all conservatives feeding me the news. They're all conservatives feeding me the news. And this is a great point here. Look, midterm issues for Democrats, censoring of conservative voices on media. That's issues for Democrats?
Bro, this could easily be a parody. This could easily be some shit that Dave Rubin posts, bro. Like, this is like people think the American people are so propagandized. Well, I'm talking about like watching group thing. Like they call MSNBC the left station. This could easily be Dave Rubin, right-wing culture warrior shit. I can go through every single bullet point and explain why this is stupid as hell. Every single one, I'm like, what? And this is reported on MSNBC. So what does this tell you? I told you guys, the liberals will always accept and agree with right-wing talking points.
Yep.
They will agree with a right-winger social talking points before they will agree with a socialist because they align with them. And when I say that, let me be clear. I'm talking about the MSNBC, like the Mika, like this Weinmann group. You're not winning those over. Like the person who vote for Pete Buttigieg, once again, Morton Joe doesn't have a large audience, but these people are as right-wing as MAGA. They are as unmovable as the most hardcore right-winger you can think of in your head. You have way more in common, and I'm telling you this as someone who lives in the red state. We have way more in common with the average Republican voter that live next door to you than anybody sitting on this panel, including Al Sharpton. Any of these motherfuckers, we got more in common.
That is true.
Should we even go through all these like censoring? Here, if you don't mind, let me
wait. Is this serious though? Is this so? Let me just understand. He's saying that stop being woke, and this is the issues that people are into. Is that what he's saying? I'm trying to understand what he's saying.
It's so dumb. I don't even like.
This
so
can't be serious, Nick. This can't be censoring of conservative voices on. That is that is a priority for you.
And look at the framing. Look at the framing. The censoring of conservative voices. Who been censored? Who's been conservative? I see Sandinistas being censored.
Yes.
I see people who are speaking up against the Ukraine war being censored. Socialists has stayed being censored. Black Lives Matter activists, abolitionists has been censored. This is why I don't join hand with the right-wing populists, because you never see them defend socialists and left-wingers when we are purged from social media. We covered this on our show. Remember in the Nicaraguan elections, how Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pulled a ton of socialist accounts? Yep. Where was the what was the outcry about media censorship? You notice how MSNBC, they accept the right-wing framing because they benefit from it. So they only want to pretend that it's right-wingers who've been censored on social media. College campuses becoming echo chambers. Guys, Dr. Cornel West was denied tenure for standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people. I'm bringing on this dude's a Marxist professor, and I had a conversation with him. He tells me about. He was like, bro, when you're a Marxist, there's so much pressure for you to conform to capitalist thought. And Richard Wolff talk about this all the time. They said, bro, you can't be a Marxist professor. He openly talked about this story. There in academia, there is no left bias. It's a capitalist imperialist bias. If you look at the most educated people, they are all Zionists. Harvard graduates are Zionists because they are brainwashed through their education institution to be Zionists. But look at what they present.
Which Karl Marx talks about, that schooling is primarily used to indoctrinate you, not for the educational purpose.
Yeah, and go ahead. just for the sake of speed, we talk about all the time how like our education system actually teaches us bullshit. like they program you capitalist, imperialist propaganda. That's why you see all the elite academic people are all fucking the worst war criminals, right? But look at the information they're saying here. Becoming a liberal echo chamber? And on what grounds?
Are they saying this is the things they want to do, or are they saying these are the things that
they're saying that these are like issues? Like
Jesus, so
they're saying that
historical figures. So calling out racist people in history, that's what they're talking about when they're saying that, canceling historical figures.
Yes, now that's the statues culture war. The push to be politically correct. So that's MSNBC's like just conceding to this shit, right? So maybe we should watch the video, finish the video. Let's
listen some more.
Because like this is we're out of pause. They're like, what is this? Anyway, let's watch it. It's so ridiculous.
Twitter.
I'm gonna rewind it by a few seconds just so we can understand the context of that last sentence.
Woke voters in Washington, D.C., and they're more conservative on crime. They're more conservative on education. They're more conservative on, quote, these woke issues. Get off of Twitter. I'm telling you. And Rev, if you look at Biden runs against 15 progressives. Biden's the only moderate. Biden wins. We've said it time and again. Eric Adams runs as a conservative. He wins Brooklyn. He wins the Bronx.
Bro, this is so much propaganda. It's so fast.
There's no way we can get through 30 seconds of this shit. There's no way. It's so much propaganda.
It's so good. Like when I don't watch this shit a lot, but when I watch this shit as a analyst of propaganda, this is a masterclass. Like, this is like Morning Joe is like the Kobe Bryant of propaganda. The amount of propaganda he's fitting in a small amount of time. Every sentence is packed with a reason. Every word he says has a reason.
Almost every word.
That's right. Go ahead, CJ. You can continue, but man,
but listen. But look at this here. True crimes. So the other stuff was woke up, and this is DA in major cities going soft on crime.
That's not true.
Bail reform failure in New York City. Crime spike. Nick, do you see how MSNBC is, by hook or crook, they're fooling their audience, their left audience or their progressive audience, not really leftists that follow it, into a conservative way of thinking. Look at this shit.
This is propaganda too. I told you, I didn't see this segment. I did not see this for the first time. This is every segment they got propaganda in it. Like, bro, I didn't even know. You see how they still had to sneak it in. They still had to sneak it in. What the fuck? They were talking about midterm elections. They still had to find a way to sneak propaganda. Crime spike in San Francisco, bro. California they've been taking COVID money and giving it to the police.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Can't be that. It can't be that bad if they're doing it. But let's see if we can get through. We got another minute. We got another minute. Let's see if we can get through this.
God damn, it's crazy.
Bronx. He wins Staten Island.
Especially the stuff about Eric Adams winning all of these places because he's conservative.
Yeah. That's another propaganda.
Conservative.
Go ahead.
He wins Brooklyn. He wins the Bronx. He wins Staten Island. Surprise. He wins Queens as a conservative, as a centrist Democrat. Can you please? I know you've done it a lot.
No.
Can you explain to white woke leaders? Can you explain to them that they're not only losing white dudes in the upper Midwest, they're losing people of color.
So Joe Scarborough is saying you are losing people of color because you're too woke. You need to be more conservative, right? Al Sharpton, tell them that they need to be more conservative. That's essentially what he's trying to say here, Nick.
Do you guys not see why America is the most propagandized country? Like I need to start watching and do these segment breakdown more because I watch corporate media rarely, but I ain't watched more than Joe in particular in a while. But this is, and I'm literally blown away. Like everything they say has a reason. For him bringing Eric Adams, from bringing that little panel. Now you're here to bring Al Sharpton.
He's not picking things out of the air. He's not picking things out of the air.
That's not actually like he's not like us. Like when we do our streams, like believe it or not, like we got stories, but I don't really know what I'm gonna say about the story. I just know I'm gonna talk about it. Like so, I'm kind of riffing. Nothing he says, I promise you guys, nothing that he just said in the last 2 minutes.
Right.
Everything was written down. Everything was planned carefully for the segment. There's no way it hasn't been. Either that or he's just a naturally great propaganda.
It's a propaganda tactic, Nick. It shows your sophistication that if I'm trying to propagandize about this, and I've already told you I've already given you propaganda about this. So I've already propagandized. So I'm talking about this, but I'm throwing side shit in about this. That's solidifying this shit I told you about. You get what I'm saying? That's what he's doing. He's telling you this, but he's also solidifying other propaganda he's already talked to you about. This guy does it very well.
This shit is crazy to watch, man.
Yeah,
let's continue. This is crazy.
Let's finish
we didn't even get to Sharpton yet. We didn't get to Sharpton. This is gonna get
30
real
seconds.
stupid.
He has the last 30 seconds, and that's
gonna get real
I
stupid.
find that funny that the most of it is this guy. But let's 30 seconds right here.
They're losing people of color because they really don't get the people of color's life. If you are living in a city, in a neighborhood that is inundated with crime, and you act like that is not an issue, you've already lost me. I
can't believe
he's pretending.
I gotta pause it here because of all the parents' homes, all the families, this guy want to show his fucking face anytime somebody gets shot so he can get the credit as the person being there. This guy, you got the fucking audacity, Nick. He has the fucking audacity to come up here and push propaganda. He has the audacity to come up here and say this about you're inundated with crime. So you're not going to take the opportunity of how people are committing crime because of their economic situation. That's what you're doing, Al Sharpton? Let's listen more. But I can't believe this guy has come far and not a good way.
Now you know why we call these people out. You know why we call the black capitalists out. What we tell you? My quick point. We get back to video. The reason why me and CJ in Rome started Black Network because the opinions you guys have heard on RBN has been seen nowhere. I'm telling you, if they keep putting these black capitalist scumbags like Al Sharpton and Bing Dixon and Tim Black, and then they put them at, these are the black radical opinions. You guys have not gotten it until now on RBN, and we've been a shock to the political conscience. And the reason why we had to do this because we noticed our voice has been shut out of the political equation. Al Sharpton is our representative. Charles fucking Booker is the guy. They're like, he's a young black radical. What? No, you never heard from Black Marxists until we had the channel. So we can continue to clip. I hope that's clear. Now that you guys see the role of Sharpton and these people that they actually platform.
Right. And we just stumbled on this clip.
Yeah, I didn't even see this.
And maybe we need to do this more often where literally, because Nick, this is really, this is what we have to do. Like I'm doing this I am the revolution to educate, but we also need to go in and show people this is propaganda. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like, and like tear it apart like this so they can recognize it. Maybe we should do more.
Yeah, we talked about it. I remember we talked about it before. Like once you see through the propaganda, you can't unsee it. Like I watched this segment and I am shocked. Well, I'm not shocked, but I am bewildered and baffled, stunned. Any word you can think of that this will work on anybody. But I know at the same time, that's why I say I'm not necessarily shocked. I know there are people who are so stuck in the sauce, lost in the sauce. I can't even understand how they think. So at least we can at least show people what our reaction is when we see this shit. When we see this shit, like, bro, what? But there are black boomers who watch this shit like, yeah, goddamn, black youngins are ruining it. No, I don't get it. I don't get
those Boondocks people. Get out of here. All right. Let's see if we can finish 20 seconds, 23 seconds. Let's see if we can get through this.
That is inundated with crime.
Let me rewind this guy selling out the black community like this.
Let's go from the very beginning where you start.
If you are living in a city, in a neighborhood that is inundated with crime, and you act like that is not an issue, you've already lost me. That is an issue. Yes, we must deal with policing. I've been out front of that. But you cannot ignore when 12-year-old kids who somebody's niece and neighbor is killed, and you act like that's a non-issue because you're too elitist to live on the ground.
And Rev,
you're too elitist to live. That's a new thing where it's the new thing and it kind of it comes out of the left movement, and they co-op a whole bunch of things from the left movement. But it's like you're elitist if you think that you're an elite. Everything you're an elitist if you think that elitist calling somebody else an elitist. How ironic, Nick.
So I want to share the cope that a lot of people had to deal with, because now you got that segment designed to deflect from the realities of what the Democrat Party has done and what they did not done, right? Like that segment is designed to do so many things, but the establishment knows that the Democratic Party is going to lose in 2022 because that's their job. They already shifted the Overton window to the right. Now their job is to lose to Republicans again, so the Republican Party can continue to shift it some more. And then Pete Buttigieg is going to run in 2032 or something. And like, oh my God, look at how crazy that Ron DeSantis is. Then we're going to be stuck in the process again. Pete Buttigieg is going to say, oh, I'm going to reverse all the crazy right-wing thing he did. Then he get office, he'd double down on them, and then go over and over and over and over in a circle. This is the ratchet effect that I just described to you guys. This is how the United States has become an extremely right-wing country. So you already saw in that segment who they're placing blame on. They created this person who do not exist. That's why I'm actually glad. I'm glad that you played that clip, because that actually fits into what I'm about to share perfectly. So perfectly. I did not realize
that happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Because they can't say, because it looks bad, you fucking blacks and Latinos and working class people asking, you want Joe Biden to end the kids in cages? The fuck? You better fall in line. They can't say that. So they got to blame the mythical white socialist, white ally, who I'm telling you guys, these motherfuckers are rare. These motherfuckers are not as abundant as you think they are. Why do you guys think we come on RBN and we tell you why the U.S. left is weak as fuck? When you see Liv, someone that you see on the show who was arrested protesting in solidarity with indigenous people, that's what we're looking for, right? That shit is rare. But they want to pretend that, this white radical is dragging anyone left, even though it's led by black Marxists and socialists. So these are funny reactions now. These are people coping with Biden's horrific poll number. Now I'm doing this order because it's perfect after what you just shared. Because this is Maggie Klaus. Now let's see who this is. Still with her, neoliberal. Who calls himself a neoliberal? She literally said she's a wine mom. Literally a wine mom. Literally. I'm a wine and whiskey enthusiast. Literally a wine mom. She calls herself a neoliberal. She still has still with her. And I looked at her timeline. Then she tweeted quite. Look, here it is. Look who she retweets. Bill Kristol. She's a true neoliberal. This is who the Democratic Party. This is their constituents. These are the people who fall for the defund the police propaganda. CJ. There's no way she supports defund the police. But she's a Democrat. You see, she got Hillary on the banner. So what is her response to people being upset at Joe Biden? You want to see it? If you want to see how the Bernie effect from 2016 is still lingering, check out all the spoiled white kids claiming they won't vote in 2024. Unless Biden raises their debt. I told you I love it. You play that video. Can you see the strategy? You see the strategy?
Garbage.
Check out all the spoiled white kids claiming they won't vote in 2024 unless Biden erases all their debt. Politicians encouraging this should be ashamed.
Because it's okay to blame it on spoiled white kids because that's an easy target for people in this culture is spoiled white kids. So that's what they do. Let me play you this also. I don't know if you know. I was going to cover the Pete Buttigieg interview they did on. It was pretty terrible. It was pretty terrible. Like I couldn't even sit through the first 15 minutes. Like he was boring on this show. But this is also from that channel, and it says Pete Buttigieg has no idea that Black Americans feel like Democrats, and it's cut off there. And that's what we're gonna say. So, let me see where it says that Black Americans feel like Democrats have kept no promises. Really,
well, that title.
So that's what this clip is about.
That title is a fucking mouthful, isn't it?
Yes, I'm telling you, the GOP war room they curate these clips.
I ain't seen this. Let's see what you say. Let's see what you say here.
You do realize, Pete, a lot of Black people feel like Democrats have kept no promises since they've been in office.
Really?
Yes. Reverend Isla said that a million times. I'm sure he'll be pressing you about that tomorrow.
Really? Let's play it again. It's a small snippet. They don't go into it, but let's play it. Let's look at him. Look at his face, and you tell me if he's pretending to be surprised or he knows exactly that that's the case. And do you think he's genuinely surprised or he's pretending to be surprised?
You do realize, Pete, a lot of Black people feel like Democrats have kept no promises since they've been in office.
Really?
Yes. Reverend Isla said that a million times. I'm sure he'll be pressing you about that tomorrow.
Look, I get it.
Because we know that Pete Buttigieg has his thumb on the pulse of the Black community.
Oh my god! But I'm playing these videos, Nick, to say like this is not the topic, but this is the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
this is your party, bro.
Bro, I don't know how Black people vote for this shit and not feel embarrassed every fucking day. I'll be fucking real, and I'll vote shame my own people. I remember people got mad. 'Cause I was like, I was like, any Black person who vote for Eric Adams a low info voter, and then people were like, how can you say that about your own people? I'm like, goddamn right. If you vote for Eric Adams,
that's true.
I'm gonna call you a dumbass. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of holding hands.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is this? Let me share. You mind if I share this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I had one more reaction. Because you guys saw Maggie, right? You guys see these people trying to, and their response to people criticizing them. So we can tell 2022 is about to be a bloodbath because their response to criticism is, shut the fuck up, well, brat. It's just white fucking fucking socialists who want to cancel our student loan debt, right? So this is another one from Angry Staffer, another big Democrat. Like I'm pulling these people up and I'm showing you their profiles. Just so you know, these not like trolls. These are people who are literally Democrat operatives on Twitter, meaning that this is the message that they want to convey, right? So let's get to his tweet. If you look at his timeline, it's Democrat neoliberal hell, right? So he said Biden, literally the most, he's describing him here, which is ridiculous. Literally the most progressive president ever, which means fucking nothing, by the way, which also not true. But then he says, Twitter, but where's my unicorn? Implying the people who criticize Joe Biden, we only criticize Joe Biden because we want a unicorn. You see that, CJ? This is my response. This dude too fucking big. I couldn't ratio him. But I got a lot of responses and likes and stuff. So I respond very simple. And this is how I respond to this shit. And I seen liberals say, oh, you guys didn't get everything you want. They had nothing to do with that. We want you guys to become serious. Biden is in charge of the executive branch. So everything he get passed through the legislature is extra credit for a president. You are the commander in chief. You in charge of DHS. And everything that Biden had control over, like canceling student debt, that Maggie mocks, he a straight up right winger, as bad as Trump. Increased ICE budgets, literally funding multiple genocides, gave Israel more weapons than Trump, funding the military more than Trump. So if you go through the Democratic people who are apologizing for him, they were saying, "Oh, you guys don't know how Washington works." Then my friend Gritty, he posted this, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, you just don't know how it works." Like this guy, wow, it seems like there are a lot you don't understand about politics. Because you're talking about Biden, Phil. This shit, a lot of this shit is directly like legalizing cannabis. No more kids in cages. These is what the executive branch is in control over. Do you guys see how most people in politics, including both Republicans and Democrats, have no idea how our government works? My biggest criticism of Joe Biden, we make fun of him over the Build Back Better and lying about his campaign, but our biggest criticism is the kids in cages, the war crimes, and him illegally kicking people off unemployment benefits. Everything that had nothing to do with Joe Manchin, nothing to do with Kristen Sinema, nothing to do with going on in Congress. You guys understand what I'm saying? But I think that's the thing I want to share. You got any thoughts, CJ? Let's see if I got anything else.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna share this last video on the way out. And again, everybody, make sure you follow us on Substack. Make sure because it's just a fantastic way for us to keep in contact with you. We're trying to build this community. Just imagine we had all of our subscribers on there, 10,000, that we're able to communicate. Hey, there's a mutual aid need. Somebody needs this, and we're able to make content and send it directly to you. So this is a great tool to have that we finally started doing it. We've been slacking off. So make sure you go to this website, go to Substack and follow us. Like this video. We're working against the algorithm. We see all the breakdown in the back, and it's you that's helping us to break through these algorithms, like you pushing our content and helping us. So thank you for that. And then this last video.
Hey, CJ, I just saw can you link the Substack on the all channel so people on all the platforms can get it?
On the what? On the say it again?
Can you just link the Substack again? That's pretty much all I gotta do.
Put it back in the
I don't have it saved. I don't say it on me. Yeah, just type in the chat again.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. I don't know how to pin it because Sabby had mentioned to pin it in the comments, but I don't know how to do that yet. So I guess I can figure that out. But
yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, let's see.
I resent all of that. But let's end with this video. It's not much critique to even give on it, but the Democrats are in trouble for the midterms, and this is segment kind of talks about it. Oops.
Groceries, we have a serious. But if all those employed people can't buy groceries, we have a serious problem.
That's kitchen table too.
It's kitchen table, but Mika, it's more than just messaging. It's more than whether or not Democrats have a slogan that says Democrats deliver. It's what are we actually going to do to intervene to try to lower prices, lower inflation until people see that happen and feel it in their pocketbooks.
Sometimes
I don't think the messages matter.
Sometimes it's a.
Which one of the people at the table is speaking for the working class? Who can contribute their thoughts on that? You see how we're missing? What about the black radical? Where's that person? Where's the leftists?
Now you guys see why we platform many people. Like we platform big name media people, but we also will platform ordinary activists. Because to me, there's no hierarchy. Like if you look at not even just MSNBC, but if you look at TYT, Majority Report, there's a hierarchy. They want professionals. They want capitalists. They want to see if you've been successful in life before they give you a political voice. Your success has nothing to do with how valuable your political opinion is. You guys watch my show. You guys see my political opinion. I'm just a college dropout. But they will never invite me on the panel because I'm not as qualified as these people, right?
But your success may indicate how bought in you are into the system.
Exactly. That's how they do. That's another way to screen people, right? That's a good point, TJ. That's another way to screen people, which is why I'm imploring you people to decolonize your mind in that way, where you don't have this hierarchy, right? Where you're like, oh, what's their credentials? I see people do this all the time. This is why I kind of making this point. Not us, not leftists, but whenever I criticize AOC and Bernie Sanders, the fake leftists, the progressives, they say stuff like this. You hear, and I'm sure all you guys heard this before. If you criticize Bernie and AOC, they will say, how dare you criticize Bernie and AOC? What have you done? What have you done? AOC and Bernie has done way more than you. And you see the immediate problem that make CJ flinched. And as Marxists, as people who don't have this hierarchy, it doesn't matter if I don't do as much as AOC. It don't matter that she has a higher position than me. That doesn't make her above criticism. Like, her opinion is not more valid than mine because of her status. And that will a lot of people fall for. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I know you guys all heard the same. How dare you criticize AOC or Bernie? How dare you criticize this person? You ain't done nothing compared to them. See the hierarchy? Doesn't reject that hierarchy. I'm getting off on a tangent, so we can get back to the video.
No, I think that's spot on with the conversation. Reject that hierarchy, but there's a few more seconds. Let's see what else is said here.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
Exactly.
And you guys show you're dealing with the problem because let's remember that all of this happened while the Democrats were in power. You told us to put you in power. We put you in power, and now I can't afford the life I'm living. You've got to tell me how you're going to deal with that because I put you in power there to understand me, not to preach to me.
Joe,
so I'm glad he got something in. So kudos to Al for doing something good before we ended this stream, because that is a point that I'm glad he got in there. Is that it's not only you're not doing anything, is that this whole elect us. No. What do you mean for 2024? We did that for 2020, and we ain't seeing residuals here. And you because both of these clips I played is kind of related, because you saw Joe Scarborough trying to make up a reason, trying to construct a reason to construct a reason why Democrats are going to be doing so bad with Black, Latino, Indigenous voters. Not that they're terrible, but there's something else going on. Go ahead.
Well said. I think we can begin to wrap up. But I have one quick thing to share with you guys. It's not even a segment. It's just a funny tweet I saw, because it wraps up. Maybe I can start doing this segment that I call capitalist brain rot, because I want you capitalist propaganda and the way capitalist thinks never cease to amaze me. So I kind of just want to show CJ and for you guys this for shits and giggles. This is how capitalists are rationalizing and yelling at people who are complaining about the food shortages. You guys want to see this? This is my friend Jory who called this out. Very proud of her for getting this banger here. This person said, once again, this is a funny way to wrap this up. I am fed up of the loony left moaning about the rising demand for food banks. Every family needs to live within their means. Food doesn't grow on trees. Do you guys see how capitalism completely breaks your brain? Anyway,
food doesn't grow on trees. Let me read this to my wife. Put that back up there. Put that back up there. Let me get her.
This is a funny way to end the stream. I saw this.
Let me read this. This person says, I am fed up with the loony left moaning about the rising demand in food banks. Every family needs to live within their means. And then he says, food doesn't grow on trees. They're just a random person on. There's just a random person.
Hey, CJ, peep the Ukraine. She got a Ukraine border. You notice that, guys? I told you the Ukraine shit lives, man. There's something else. So
that has to be a joke. That has to be a joke.
No,
food doesn't grow on trees. They do.
Bro, this is the capitalist brain rot. Capitalism broke people's brains so bad. They're so divorced from reality. They literally think like, oh, you just go to the grocery store and you get food. They don't even realize where the shit comes from. They don't realize where the shit comes from. And also the serious point of this, look at the second line. Now the second line is dark. I don't know if you guys didn't realize how dark that is.
Yeah, that is.
every family needs to live within their means. So if you're making starvation wage, she's saying
Adjust
you need
your
to live
life.
a starvation lifestyle.
Right.
Now, I'm sure that's a funny tweet, but this is the capitalist mindset. Now you guys understand why we strongly reject it here at this channel. That's a funny tweet. We can wait. You get your final thoughts.
Right.
I don't want to get too long.
Not that the bucket needs to be shared or the treasure or the goods need to be shared better. Is that the crumbs you're getting, manage it better.
Scarcity is a myth. Scarcity is a myth. Everyone knows it. Capitalist knows it. She knows it. She's saying live within your means so the rich can live a lavish life. I can't. I maybe can do 1 hour just breaking down the psychology of how crazy that is. But anyway, Food Girls on Shelves. For me, I ain't watched the comments, but I'm sure you guys left some great ones. I couldn't see the comments. I was going through so much stuff. But for me tomorrow, we're gonna have the Outsiders View. Me and Josana. So check that out. You can check me out on this time slot. CJ been killing it with You Left Shit Out, and in the Revolution podcast, the new one, the new series as well. So that's kind of like the new format. I like the format. You guys know Sabby, she kills on her channel. You guys see JB on the weekends. CJ does his thing in the afternoon, and then I do my time slot in the evening. Nick and CJ on Monday. I'll be with Josana tomorrow at the same time, Tuesday. And I'm pretty sure me and Zoe are gonna do a panel on Wednesday because we gotta talk about the Bucha massacre. Zoe been I told you guys, she's my teacher. Like she tells me a lot of shit, and she would give me the deets on it. I'm like, wow. You guys probably saw some other people covering this as well, but wow. I told you guys, this is the craziest propaganda time that I have seen. Margaret Kimberly said the same thing. When you look at the Bucha massacre and the propaganda, like Russia is demanding, just quickly, Russia is demanding investigation. U.S. was like, no, we're not doing that. The West is blocking the investigation while trying to say it's fact that Russia slaughtered these people. Anyway, we get into that Wednesday. It's crazy. When I got a chance to dive into this, so that's why I got coming up.
Confronting
CJ.
lies, just confronting the propaganda. I can't wait for that. Yeah, guys, everybody watching, we're at 222 likes. We need to get to 300. If everybody watching can just smash that like button before this stream is over, and we're gonna end, if you don't mind, Nick, I want to end with a video. Like, we won't come back after the video. It's one of them outro videos. So that's when Nick is appearing again. I'll be here tomorrow. What is Tuesday? I'll be here tomorrow, 3 p.m. for the new podcast, I Am the Revolution. And I haven't decided what I'm going to cover yet. It might be communism, only because I covered capitalism today, or it might be like a black radical leader. So I'll let you know. And so that's tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what's going on Wednesday, so I don't want to shout that out. So if there's not anything else, Nick, we're going to leave everybody with this video. We're not coming back after the video. The stream will end after the video. Martin Luther King on the Harry Belafonte show, talking about direct action. Any other words, Nick, before I play this video?
Thank you guys for watching. Please share with a friend. Help us get to 30K. Thank you guys for watching.
Absolutely. All right. So here is the video, and have a good one.
What do you have in store for us this summer?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know about the summer. I guess I should begin with what we have in store for the spring. I feel that we are in the midst of the most critical period in our nation, and the economic problem is probably the most serious problem confronting the Negro community. And I might say the most serious problem confronting poor people generally. And I don't want to be narrow about this, talking only about the black poor in our country, because I must be concerned about Puerto Ricans who are poor, Mexican Americans, American Indians, and Appalachian whites. And we are confronting a major depression in the poor community. And I think the time has come to bring to bear the power of the direct action, the nonviolent direct action movement, on the basic economic conditions that we face all over the country. Nonviolence has been a tremendous force in grappling with the social problem of legal segregation and the syndrome of deprivation surrounding that system. And of course, it has been a major force in grappling with the political problem of the denial of the right to vote. But in winning victories like the Civil Rights Bill of '64 and the Voting Rights Bill of 1965 around the issue of segregation and voting rights, we discovered that these legislative strides did very little to improve the lot of the millions of Negroes in the ghettos of the North and in the nation generally. In other words, it did very little to penetrate the lower depths of Negro deprivation in communities all over.